Hi everyone, welcome to Tony Fox Tarot. Thanks for joining me today and great to have you with me. So today we're looking at how other people see you. What do they think about you? How do they feel about you? What do they say about you? What's their take on you as a person? At home, with your family, or with your friends, or out in social settings amongst other people? At work, with your colleagues? What do they think of you? How do they see you as a person? Let's break all of that down and have a look at this in an in-depth way. And before we get started, if you would like to go down below and hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon while you're there. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. Please like and share this video where you can. And if you are interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Now, before you on the screen, we've got 4 different piles of cards, and the idea is to choose a pile that resonates with you really clearly. Once you've made that choice, that will be your reading. Perfectly fine to choose more than one pile if it comes through really strongly for you. And just remember, this is a general reading, so take what resonates, leave behind anything that doesn't. We've got pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. So, taking a nice deep breath and listening to your intuition, your inner voice, and the energy of the cards. Which of these piles speaks to you the loudest, the clearest, the strongest? Is it pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, or pile 4? Down below, there are 4 different timestamps representing each of these different piles. If you would like to go to the one you've chosen, I'll see you in a moment. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 1. This is your reading and we are looking at what other people see when they look at you. So how do they view you? How do they see you? How do they think about you? How do they feel about you? What's their take on you? Now, up here with the Devil and the Knight of Cups, I definitely get a bad boy, bad girl, bad person vibe coming through. Very mischievous in a very sexy way, actually. You seem to really be very much in touch with yourself as far as your sexuality. I think there's a real confidence there. You're not afraid to put yourself out there in a way that kind of is very flirtatious, very playful. It's looking to engage with people, generally speaking, whether it's guys or whether it's girls. I think there's just something about you that kind of rides on that sort of energy of really very confidently being the center of attention, actually. And people actually really love this about you because you are really pleasant to look at. And look, I don't mean just in terms of how it is that you look. It's very much about your energy and the way that you actually carry yourself. You're in touch with yourself. You're very accepting of who it is that you are as a person. There's an ease about your nature, something quite natural, actually. But you are attractive because this vibe really seems to kind of reach out in a way that, makes you stand out in the crowd. So when you're walking into a room, it's all eyes on you because, you stand out from everybody else. So that's very interesting. There's a rule breaker here though. There's a naughty person really looking to spice things up. And especially with your friends and your colleagues, people who know you, they love this about you. You keep things interesting in a way where you stir the pot. You're driven by your social nature. Like there's a part of you that just wants to make connections with people and it's very warm, very inviting. I think also with that, you kind of reach out to people in a way that also likes to have a lot of fun though. And that can actually be at the expense of yourself or it can be at the expense of others, but it's always tongue-in-cheek. I don't pick up any maliciousness. There's no negative vibe going on there as far as your motivation. I think the reality is that you love to socialize, you love to be the center of attention, and people love the energy that that you bring to any kind of social engagement. What people love the most about you is that you're actually the life of the party, because I think most people tend to kind of be very much caught up in themselves, and so they're either kind of lacking in confidence to sort of engage at a social level, or the other side of that is that they're very awkward with the whole idea of being social. So there's a nervousness that kind of gets caught up in like a pretense of how is it they think that they should be, whereas when you come into the room, you just kind of like sweep in, and the energy just changes up completely, and it puts a smile on people's face in a way where everybody feels comfortable to have you there. And there's a Pied Piper nature to who it is that you are as a consequence. So people tend to follow you and what you're up to, because it keeps it interesting, and they kind of want to hang on in a way where they're with somebody who's just very confident with themselves. So definitely a rule breaker. Trouble follows you, though. And when I say that, I mean that in the nicest possible way. It's because at the end of the day, you're up for fun, yeah. And it's a very attractive energy that that brings a lot of people to the party. You are the life of the party, right? And I feel that. Yeah, so definitely out there, definitely meeting people. There is another side of you that is also very polite, very gracious. It's not like you can't take you to sort of home to meet the other half's mother and father, their parents or their family. There is actually a side of you that can compartmentalize in a way where actually you keep that at bay, and you put your best foot forward in a way where you're very hospitable, very gracious, and the thing that people really love about you, what stands out the most in terms of your personality, is that you are a big personality. There's a lot going on here in terms of your psychological makeup. So you're very dynamic. You like to be out and about. You're sort of putting yourself out there into the mix socially. You're gathering people together in a way where you sort of knit in almost like a social fabric. So very good at matchmaking. Very good at putting people together. Very good at making people feel comfortable. Very good at having fun with people. But there's also, I get this very well turned out a very well turned out person in terms of how you dress. People love this about you. You spend money on clothes. You spend money on how it is that you look. You want to look good, and the thing is that you actually do look really good. There's something very striking in terms of the way you attend to yourself in terms of your image. So that part I find very interesting. I think the other thing I also find is there's a richness to this. Yeah, there's a richness to how it is that you look. Status is very important to you. People look at you and they think, wow, this. I think a lot of people think that you actually have quite a lot of money, because you seem to invest in yourself in a way where you won't settle for second best. Yeah, so whether it's clothes, whether it's hair, whether it's the car that you drive, the kinds of furnishings that you have, the home that you live in, the kind of the postcode, it's it's the whole thing. You're quite aspirational, and you want a lot out of life, and you get a lot out of life. You've got a big personality, and there's a lot of room for all of this stuff as far as you're concerned. So as far as you're concerned, actually, you push the envelope. You're a person who actually is a big personality, who pushes the envelope, expects a lot, and gets a lot. There is something very warm and endearing about your nature as well. There is a very nurturing person at the core of who it is that I see here. People, especially your close friends, the part that they love most about you and what you're about is that you make time for them. If somebody has a problem and you know that they are in need, you extend yourself to really meet them on a one-to-one level in a way where you connect properly. There's nothing superficial about you on that particular level. So you link into people, and once again you give a lot. but you really listen to what people have to say. And what people love the most about that is that you always offer the flip side of perspective. Yeah, you offer both sides of the coin. Yeah, so where people might expect just to kind of get one particular view from a friend, or like a family member or a colleague, you will kind of go the distance and kind of really flip it and really help people to see what's going on from a much broader context, in a way that kind of flips their kind of understanding of what's going on. So you're a very helpful person, actually, when it comes to friends, colleagues, family. People are drawn in by your nature. As I say, you've got a very dynamic, quite complex personality, and you offer a lot. You're very there. You're very present. You're very giving. And when I also say that, what I'm also meaning is that you give a lot materially as well. You lavish the people close to you. You lavish them with gifts. You actually give quite a lot. You spend money on people. If you're out and about having drinks, you'll buy the next round, you buy the round after that. You want to make sure that people are happy. This thing about being very hospitable is very strong for you. I get this sense that you are an entertainer when it maybe comes to home, or so dinner parties, or if you're going out to dinner, you really like to hold court in a way where you're hosting and making sure that everybody has everything that they need. And, there's an abundance about you. Yeah. And people, this is what people love the most about you, actually, is that there is this sort of an emanation of giving, a tendency to lavish people, to really, go next level in terms of giving. And that is actually very, very lovely. The one thing I will say that can be difficult in terms of how maybe, relationships, when it comes to kind of like more intimate relationships, there is a trickiness there for you. And what other people see is that you're quite a difficult person to get close to. They see the loving, caring nature that you have, but you do find it quite difficult to settle down and to become comfortable about opening up. It's not that you're really insecure, it's just that you have to find the right person to open up to on that particular level. And I think that there can be some trickiness there as far as tuning into somebody that you're close with. It can be a little bit push and pull. There also is a tendency to be really proud. And you have a stubbornness. You dig your heels in a way where if you think you're right, then everybody else is definitely wrong, and you won't back down. So I think that for me is the trickier part. Is maybe just kind of like because that's also a defense mechanism. Is this kind of like also pushing people away and not wanting them to get too close to the core of any vulnerability. So I kind of feel largely, though, that you're very, very much forgiven by that. I think you're a good friend to your friends. I think you're actually a good person to your family. I think anybody who knows you really well loves you very dearly and wants to be very close to you. The trickiness for me here is sort of more around the intimacy of relationships. Yeah, so getting close to somebody that you're actually going to settle down with in a relationship. I think it's very hard for you, and people do see this, hard for you to kind of maybe hard for you to give up being the center of attention. Being in a relationship means it's about the both of you, and you enjoy being in the spotlight in a way where you get all of the attention. And that's actually really forgivable, because your flame is burning really brightly at this point in time, and you're putting it out there in a way where you just kind of want to see what's coming back. So maybe finding that space to be with somebody at a more sort of intimate level, where you can kind of really settle into what they are all about, has yet to come for you. I hope this has made some sense, and if it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It would be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon, that'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 2. This is your reading, and here we are. This is your reading. We're looking at how other people see you, and we've got some cards on the table, so let's just jump on in and get straight into it. I'm up here at the Star and the Three of Pentacles. Something very solid about your nature. You have an underpinning, very, very grounded, very grounded person. You're the person that holds it together. Yeah, that's how people see you. You're the glue that keeps it all sticking together in a way that keeps things very harmonious, you know, like, so you're a very central figure amongst the people that you know socially, very central in your family, very central in the work that you do. You're a balancing force that really kind of creates you're like the rock, okay? You're the one that everybody will turn to if everything goes wrong, that's for sure, because you seem to have it really together where it really counts. Very grounded. There's something very spiritual about you as a person, definitely. Very spiritually anchored. So you know yourself really at a very core and fundamental level. The one thing that people know about you is that you're a very sensitive person. Very sensitive. Maybe even creatively or artistically sensitive. You know, like there's something about your energy that really goes very deep into an experience that shows a lot of vulnerability, but also experiences a lot of vulnerability. People know that about you. You're not afraid to go there. You know, you actually go that extra distance to really have a much fuller experience than the majority of people would have. And because of that, you know, you need a lot of reflective time. You need a lot of time to decompress. And so, so people know that you have a tendency to withdraw and you'll go AWOL and nobody can find you. And you're just having time out, time to decompress, time alone, just to kind of figure things out. It's a lot, and a lot of that is to do with your reflective process. So you know, a tendency to withdraw. There is a polarization there. There is a tendency to withdraw, so very introverted on one level, but there's also an extrovert about who it is that you are as a person as well, and I'll come back to that in a minute. You're very driven as a person with the kind of work that you do, but you're also very driven with anything that kind of sits on your agenda. So you have like an enviable determination that you actually follow through with until it actually, you know, finds completion. And people love this about you, especially at work. You know, you become very task focused. You won't relax until the job's done. So you're very driven in that sense that you're setting out to achieve what it is that you've kind of pinned on the wall, so to speak. Work can be everything with you as well, whether it's creative work or whether it's actually your job. You're fully immersed in what you do. It can be very difficult to distract you. I think this is the thing that really, like, maybe on a more sort of personal level, that you again, this thing about, you know, people, and this is the thing that people see really clearly about you, is that you have it's very difficult sometimes to coax you out of your comfort zone, right? That you tend to withdraw into your own personal space in a way where you potter about. And there's a lot of sort of making and creating going on in that environment. You know, if it's a domestic sort of scenario, maybe that means you're cooking or baking or pottering around the house, you know, fiddling with things, fixing things, making things. If it's artistic, definitely sort of, you know, in a very creative zone that really is. And this creative thing is, whether it's there manifest in a way for you that expresses like an artistic, outcome. The thing that people really do have a lot of respect for about you as a person is that you do have this very intensive creative process that is quite finely tuned. There's a refined, observant perspective there in terms of your ability to really kind of, polish something in quite a beautiful way, whether it's expressing yourself personally, whether that's actually, in terms of the way you look, or whether that's actually expressing something in the work that you're doing. If you are more creatively minded, definitely, there is a very beautiful, outcome in terms of who it is that you are through that self-expressive process. It's very beautiful, very sensitive, very withdrawn, and people have a lot of respect for you and your process. Nobody who knows you well will push you to be something that you're not. So your friends are actually very accepting of you. And the thing that's very difficult for people that don't know you so well is to understand what that process is about, because you're quite different from other people. You're not really. There's nothing mainstream about you as an individual. In fact, you're actually quite alternative. Over here with the Magician and the Two of Cups, there's something very, this is where the spirituality really comes through. Yeah, you're quite sensitive and vulnerable to spirituality. I think vulnerable in a really nice way. I mean, it's like it's just something you're predisposed to, but it's a rocky journey for you. You feel every bump on the road. That's a high degree of sensitivity, super sensitive. But you're grounded within this spiritual kind of pursuit or spiritual understanding, but also very motivated and active. I get an active person on this particular level. Somebody who's very progressive, who has alternative views. So you're the quirky friend that everybody loves, right? And I don't mean that in a belittling way. It's like you have an alternative perspective because you've done. Well, you've tried different things in your life, whether that's actually about going to see an acupuncturist or a homeopath or a herbalist, or meditating in a retreat, or having a guru, or traveling to India, or doing some kind of wild, crazy thing. There is that kind of streak that runs through you that's really up for a challenge that actually gives you a more spiritual experience, a dynamic experience. Very progressive in terms of your views, very progressive politics, very progressive views. You have a healing touch. This is the thing that everybody loves about you. There's something very natural about who it is that you are. I'm going to come back to this idea of extremism. Sort of, it's like you're all or nothing. So you're completely withdrawn, okay, and everybody's trying to coax you out to go and have some fun. Because when you do get out, finally, you are so up for it. You're so up for a good time, or you're so up for a social time, and you're really out there in a way where you spark everybody up. You give them a lot of charge, and people feed off of that in a way where they just want more, because there's something very healing about it, something very spiritual about it as an energy, and you're very at ease with people. You're very natural with people. I get a sense that you are somebody who is motivated to heal. These are healing cards. The two of Cups and the Star. Both of these are very healing cards. There is a natural healer in you. There's a tendency to have a healing touch, to maybe have a green thumb, to be really good with animals, to help people find balance. There's just something very natural in terms of your ability to work with circumstances, work with the energy of what's going on around you in a way where you can sort of channel things into a very beautiful, balanced outcome. And the thing is, your openness leaves you predisposed to meeting lots of people and really tuning into them at a very heartfelt level. So this is an authentic person. This is a genuine person. People love this about you. Nothing superficial about you whatsoever. You're actually out for the real experience, the real deal. This thing about movement comes up there very strongly. People love the way you move. you're good at things like yoga. You know, you're good at things like so dancing and movement. Anything that actually holds rhythm, a beat, some kind of, I guess, so you're good with that in that you can move to rhythm. You can, but also things where movement are like a concern, like things like yoga. You're very good at this kind of activity. You're really in touch with your body, very physically able to kind of work with it in a very natural way. But also on the other side of that is very good to very able to work with anything that kind of helps you to move. So music and dancing is a really big thing here, and people love the way that you move. And when you go out, if you are the person that's up and dancing, people are all looking at you because you move very beautifully. But there's a graciousness about who it is that you are in terms of how you move on a day-to-day level as well. It's probably one of the biggest things about you that attracts people to look at you. People see an elegance, a graciousness there in terms of your nature. Your nature shines through on that particular level. That part felt really strong. Felt like a very strong, because it's very attractive. But you're a moth, it's like with other people, it's like a moth to a flame. People gravitate to you very, very easily, very naturally. They want to get to know you. You're a very friendly person. People love that about you. Very, very natural, very at ease with yourself, very at ease with other people. This healing thing about connecting into people, just being very sort of authentic and genuine and real. It's just beautiful stuff. I feel like you're a matchmaker as well here, that you're actually putting people together, because that ease kind of translates into understanding other people and understanding how things match up. Yeah. But you are the person that seems to kind of anchor. I feel like there's a sort of like a group of friends here. A group of friends, maybe a small family clique. It's like you're the one that sort of is very central to these people. And they love being with you because you ground the group. You make the group. Without you, the group's not possible. It's like everybody's kind of at a loss, But when you're there, it kind of brings things together in a way where everybody feels that connection and sense of purpose together. You're the one that kind of glues everything together. You're the one that's you're the grounding force here. Okay. Interesting stuff. The one thing that you hate, that people know that you hate, is that, and this is what they see about you as far as you hate being let down by people. You'll hold people to account. I don't think people are scared of you on that level. They're not frightened of what's possible, but they just know that they need to be very, they know that they need to push themselves to actually be better, to be more. To live. This is the thing. You have high expectations, and people know this about you, and that can be a bit of a double-edged sword. It's amazing to kind of want people to be great on one level, but people can't always live up to your expectations, and they know that they let you down, that you'll get really disappointed. It'll trigger you in a way where you'll start to dwell on the issue. And because you're so sensitive, you actually take things really personally. And the problem with this particular part of the process is that it takes you ages to get over it. So you withdraw from the situation. You won't want to confront it in a way where you're actually having a kind of face-to-face conversation about what it is that's happened. Because you're preoccupied with being really let down. I'm down here at the Hierophant and the Five of Cups. And I think this is the thing that people do find really difficult about you. And it's like, again, it's a double-edged sword thing, because people know that you expect a lot. They know that you're an authentic person. They know that you're very sensitive and that you give an enormous amount. But sometimes they're just human. You know what I mean? Like, they're just normal people. Like, we're all normal people, whether you're sensitive or not. But, they don't always know that they've done something wrong. They don't always know when they've let you down, and they don't always know how to get it right either. And this can be where it's very tricky for you as a person, because Sometimes you find it very difficult to come out of your shell, to come out of this withdrawn state, to actually face what it is that's going on. You hate being told what to do. That's the one thing that people do know about you, and they shy away from trying to kind of push you to kind of do something that maybe they want to do. Because, if it's not what you like, then you're not going to do, essentially you're not going to do it. So you're kind of the leader of the pack on this level, yeah? You hate restriction. This is the one thing about you. You're a very free-spirited person. So anything that's, really conservative in nature, anything that's really restricting in terms of, I guess, once again, being told what to do, you're going to hate that. And I think so. This can be a little tricky at a social level, yeah, because not everybody's sort of going to be like you, and that can lead to more disappointment in terms of maybe being around other people in situations, whether it's social, whether it's professional, whether it's academic, any kind of situation where you've got people towing the line, acting out conservative values, I guess, imposing restrictions on you. It's something that you absolutely hate. Hope this has made some sense to you, and if it has, please feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications of any future readings that I post. And if you are interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 3. This is your reading, and today we're looking at how people see you, how they view you. So we've got some cards on the table here, and I'm ready to jump on in, and I'm up here with the Fool and the Two of Swords. You've got a great sense of humor. This is something that everybody loves about you. You know how to have a laugh and to make light of the situation. You don't take it all on. You don't buy into any drama. In fact, it's quite a conscious thing. You're just not prepared to engage with people about politics or anything too serious that kind of weighs down the situation. You like to deflect all of that, and a part of that deflection is kind of engaging with people in a very entertaining way. So you're I wouldn't say that you're the life of the party, but you're definitely a focal point from a social point of view. You're somebody that people will gravitate to, either as a single person or a group of people. They'll come to you because you have a bit of a theatrical way of maybe telling a story, of getting people's attention, and of entertaining people. Just very generally speaking, you're very good at distracting people from getting too serious about anything. And this vibe that you have is actually very lighthearted, very jovial. There's a lot of humor there, and it makes people feel really good about themselves. What they love about that is that it does distract them from all of the boring stuff that's going on in their life. And they're just kind of very much in the moment with you, going with the flow. And they love that, but also you love that. So great sense of humor, knowing how to make fun of a situation. You make fun of yourself, actually, quite a lot. You also make fun of other people. I don't know that that's tongue-in-cheek. I think people know that you actually can be quite serious at times. Sometimes you'll say something in a funny way or a jokey way, for example, about yourself. But sometimes actually, even though it's a joke, it's quite close to the bone. So there's a sharpness there in terms of your ability to kind of use wit, use humor in a very sort of, I wouldn't say savage way, but just in a very direct way, where you'll say something that everybody is thinking, right? But nobody would dare to say, but because you're doing it in a funny way, you actually have a way of outing, what it is that your observation is. So that's really interesting on that level. The reality is you don't like to buy into negativity. You don't like to buy into drama. It's all sort of water off of a duck's back with you. So, there's just, but that is also quite distracting. I think people do know that about you, is that sometimes it doesn't switch off. Yeah, sometimes the humor, the entertaining kind of, I guess, jovial nature. You know, the gags, the kind of the fun moments where you're sort of, you know, trying to engage people in a very sort of entertaining way. Sometimes that can be a bit of a distraction as well. Yeah, a distraction from getting too serious, and maybe also a distraction to let people get close to you. Yeah, but either way, definitely somebody who goes with the flow. And this is the thing that people really observe about you and like about you, is that you go with the flow and you do your own thing in your own time. What people do know about you is that you're really bad at keeping time, and that you can be really forgetful. You know, because you're just kind of in your own world and you don't take things so seriously. So things like time, you know, like it's like, yeah, I'll get there when I get there. So you'll make a time with somebody to meet them, and you'll probably turn up half an hour to an hour late, and it won't be such an issue for you, but it might be an issue for them. And also very forgetful, forgetting to bring things along with you, forgetting to maybe go to an appointment, forgetting that you're going to meet somebody, do something. Because you get distracted. You get distracted with yourself, and you also get very distracted with distracting other people. So very interesting stuff. Really like it, very light-hearted. I get a sense that deep down there's a very sharp, witty person who is very perceptive, very cutting, who really knows how to go to the bone in terms of what you see about other people, or even with yourself. You dare to say things that other people wouldn't say. And you wrap it up in humor in a way that brings it to the forefront and makes everybody think about it just that little bit more. So I kind of get a sense that, you know, you're a sharp cookie, very sharp cookie. This thing about work's quite strong here. The High Priestess and the King of Wands. People at work don't know how to get you at all. They don't get you at all. My sense of it here is that you're actually a very highly professional person. You're a very strong, hard-working individual. You're quite ambitious in as much as, you know, like, you know, you want to be working at a particular level that really is kind of maybe sort of above and beyond. What do I mean when I say that? I mean, I kind of just feel like, you know, maybe heading towards management, heading towards leadership, heading towards some kind of role that takes on a lot of responsibility. Yeah. It's a part of who it is that you are, but there's a flip side to that, because a part of you doesn't really feel so sold on that. I think what I feel here is that you want all the benefits of a professional role for the least amount of effort or commitment. So you're kind of going along for the ride, doing what you have to do, but there's lots of shades of grey with the way that you work. What this kind of means is that, you know, there's a lot of secrecy at work. People don't quite know what you're up to. They don't really know what you're doing. They don't really know who you are. You don't seem to give a lot away. No one really knows how to get you. I get a sense that you're a bit of a mystery at work. You're doing a job that maybe people even aren't even sure of what that job is. On every single level. So I get, but I do feel like you're actually admired at work. Yeah, you've got a very fiery nature, very strong, adventurous spirit that really wants to kind of conquer. And when I say that, maybe you want to conquer social situations, which kind of makes a lot of sense in terms of this idea of really holding court with people and using humor as a tool to make light of the situation, but also at the same time maybe to call people out. So maybe conquering social situations. Definitely looking to conquer work, but on your own terms and your own conditions. I would have said adventurous as far as maybe doing kind of some wild and crazy things. Like if it's not sort of taking, yeah, and I feel risks are involved there for me. I kind of think that people see you as being a bit of a mystery, a bit of a dark horse. There's a lot that people don't know about who it is that you are. You actually don't let anybody in close, like at a close personal heart level. You only let people see what you want them to see. Very controlled on that level. Yeah, interesting stuff there. But I want to come back and say something there. I felt that you were the kind of person that would do some wild and crazy stuff. like parkour or sort of like, I don't know, maybe jumping from a cliff with a parachute or I don't know, just kind of adventurous, high risk activities that maybe are very physical, that are also very personal to you in terms of like an expressive journey that really gives you a thrill. Yeah. So a thrill seeker is what I'm trying to say to you here. There's a strong sexual identity here. This is one of the other key points about your personality and your makeup and your physicality that people are very attracted to. Yeah. You have a very strong, unavailable vibe. Yeah. Like the vibe you give off is like, I'm totally not available. I get a feeling that you're very in touch with yourself physically. I think you have a very strong sexual identity. I feel that, that kind of coincides with this kind of almost unbridled fiery temperament. And this kind of mystique or mystery as to who it is that you are at times, the fact that you don't let people in to see the real you. So people see you as being somewhat of I don't want it to sound corny, but almost like a bit of an enigma on one level, because they want to get to know you, but they know they'll never get to know the real you, if that makes sense. And I think the thing is that you don't give it all away. And a big part of what empowers you is to play that card of intrigue. And you do that socially, and you do that at work, and you do that in personal relationships. Yeah. So quite a lot going on there. I did feel that meant, people see you as being a very private person, actually, and they know that you only give one side of yourself. And I think deep down what that actually means is that you don't want people to know how it is that you work, because you are a very private person, and what it means it's about your freedom. You don't want people to control you, yeah? Anyway, coming back to the cards, down here at Temperance and the Eight of Cups. The one thing that people do love about you is that the people who are close to you, the people who do have a very good connection with you in terms of a personal relationship, is that you're actually a very wise person. You're very switched on in terms of your own journey, in terms of your own experiences, and you have quite a lot of inner wisdom to share with other people. So there's something quite healing about that. It takes a lot for you, though, to get to that point of being able to open up to people, to share on a more serious level. And so when people do have that experience, they're very appreciative of who it is that they get to see from that side of things, because they're definitely getting closer to the real heartfelt you. People do know that you can be difficult with commitments. So whether that's keeping up appointments or social engagements or maybe even work meetings, it's just like, they know that you're tricky to kind of pin down on that level. You won't always pick up your phone. You're not always available to talk to. You're not always present even when you are there, in a way that actually opens up and gives people a sense that, that they can actually access the real you. Yeah, so I kind of feel that, that can lead you to maybe avoid people because you don't want them to be too close, or avoid situations that might confront you. People know this about you. There's this kind of unreliability, but it's also, there's an acceptance as to that being the person that you actually are. It's not like, you're holding contempt for it. Actually, the one thing people do is actually accept you for who you is. They know that you can be a little bit slippery, hard to pin down. Yeah, so I kind of feel overall there's a lot going on here in a way that describes a sophisticated, quite tricky, very sharp-witted, perceptive individual who is working towards a very confident outcome in terms of, becoming a successful person in their own right. But the one thing that everybody knows about you is that it's difficult to get close to you, to get to know the real you, to be with you at more of an emotional level. You're quite difficult on that level. So, yeah, all good. Anyway, I hope this has made some sense to you, and if it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you are interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. Plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card number 4. This is your reading, and today we're looking at how people see you. So cards are on the table. Let's jump on in and have a look and see what's going on here. Now, I'm drawn up here to Temperance and the Knight of Cups. The first thing that really strikes me about how people see you is that you're very open and friendly as a person. So you're quite uninhibited about your nature. Nothing seems to shock you. People know that they can say anything to you and you won't judge them on that level. And there's quite an engaged willingness to really reach out into people in a very genuine way. So from a kind of friendship point of view, you know, you make a really good friend. Like, you're very present, very honest, and always there. You know, some very, very reliable and honest about your nature on that level. So people appreciate your authenticity. They think that you're a very genuine person who gives an enormous amount, and you always make the effort. That I think a lot of people find that very difficult to get their heads around, because most people have an agenda. You know, like, not to say that everybody is that tricky, but you know, when somebody gives the way that you do, which is very open, very uninhibited, very willing, without an agenda, you know, most people don't get that degree of honesty, is what I'm saying. People see you as a very gentle person, very soft, very kind, and I think a lot of people see you as being quite spiritual. They think that you've really got it together on that level. You're somebody who seems to be very much on their path. You know, you're honest, you're genuine. There's something sort of very, very spiritually minded about who it is that you are, because you seem to always make the right effort. You know what I'm saying? You're always putting in the right kind of, I guess the right kind of intent to make sure that you're being kind, make sure that you're being gentle, make sure that you're being honest. And these are really, you know, these are very high vibrational qualities, and they resonate really right up there at a spiritual level. So I'm not surprised that people do see you as being quite a spiritual person, and perhaps you actually are. I mean, that even could be religious for some people. You know, I just get a sense that you have a real anchor at a heart level that sort of knows honesty is a way forward to walk into light, and also to kind of work with light on that level. You're a very emotionally person. There's something very non-reactive about you. Once again, this thing of not being shocked is very prominent. And it lends to being quite a progressive person, you know, like, so maybe your politics or your social views or your values, you know, they're just kind of like really easygoing in a way where, you know, it's all good. You can't kind of, you know, you're not inhibited, but you're not sort of taking any issues with anybody who, you know, just wants to kind of let it all hang out and just to kind of be themselves on that level as well. So they're authentic, present, reliable, and trustworthy has to be underscored, like, you know, 1,000 times. If a friend needs to confide in somebody and tell a secret, you'll be the one they'll go to, because they know that you will keep that secret. You'll die with it. They know that they can confide in you in a way where they trust you and that you won't betray them. So that's quite beautiful stuff. There's not a lot of people around that you can actually say that that's actually the case. You know, people have a tendency to want to, you know, to kind of want to let secrets out. Over here to the Sun and the King of Wands, this comes up very strongly for work. You know, you're a very dedicated individual when it comes to work. I get a very professionally minded person who really steps it up in terms of their effort. You'll once again, very positive qualities come through. Positivity is very key at work. You've got a very positive mindset, very strong boundaries. People will really respect the fact that you are very present with them in a very positive way, but at the same time, they know not to kind of cross over a boundary with you that makes it unprofessional. So you're guarded in a very constructive, very positive way. So boundaries are very firm. There's a lot of respect for you at work. And I think that the reason for that is that people see that you put in a really positive effort no matter what it is that you do. You don't buy into negativity. You don't gossip. You're not bitching and moaning about things. You actually just get on with the job in a way where it's like, okay, I'm here. What do we need to do? And so your contributions are always positive, very constructive, they're reliable, I think. And once again, this honesty comes through in trumps for you. And because you're so dependable on all of these levels, nobody has a bad word to say about you. And why would they? Because at the end of the day, you get back what you put in. And what you seem to do is you put in the right effort, the right intent, with everything that you're doing, both socially and professionally speaking. You always step it up at work. And yeah, you never make a complaint. There's never a resistance. So if somebody's handing you something to do, you just get on with it. You do it. Not a problem. I think what shines through here is it's the can-do attitude. That anything is possible with you. I think that's very uplifting for people to work with, because often in workplace situations, people harbor ill feeling, resentment. They hate their jobs. They're looking for problems. They want to kind of distract themselves with small talk. So lots of problems can arise from that kind of negative vibe, whereas your vibe's actually the complete polar opposite of that. You're very positive with your boundaries in a way where you don't let that sort of stuff in, and the stuff that you do actually contribute when you actually do go to work is very positive. So there's a lot of respect there for you because of that. The professionalism is really strong here. I kind of feel like you're somebody who sails through the work that you do, and also that you can sail up to the top of the ladder. And a big part of the reason that you'll actually get to the top of the ladder is because people have a respect for you and they enjoy working with you. And most often with jobs, it's not so much whether you can do the job, it's actually whether people like you and you're really likable. So you'll go very far in the work that you're doing. But I have to also say is that you actually equally do the job really well. So it's, once again, you're coming up trumps here. It's really positive stuff. I'm not seeing anything negative here. You get along really well with people. You're very kind-hearted. People love you because you're genuine. You're very honest. You contribute very positively to any kind of social or professional engagement. The other thing here is that you take full responsibility. The King of Wands is a highly responsible card. Not afraid to get involved and to own what it is that they do. So, I kind of feel that work is a place where you really excel in terms of effort and you really enjoy what you do with your job. Something here about children comes up very strongly as well. I feel like you're very good with kids. Kids love you. Kids gravitate towards you. You're like a fun teacher in some ways. You've got really strong, positive, constructive boundaries. You are very responsible, but at the same time, really attentive and caring. Your positivity is picked up with kids in a way where they just love you. They gravitate towards you. They want a piece of you in a way where they kind of want to be around you. Down here to the Lovers and Queen of Cups. Now, I felt these two cards really sort of gravitate more towards intimacy, with close relationships. Whether you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, the idea of a relationship and maybe how people see you as a potential to be with, or maybe even if you are in a relationship, how your partner sees you. My goodness, once again, really positive, very emotional maturity is actually probably one of your highest strengths. Yeah. You're very in touch with yourself as far as how you feel, and you're articulate within that process, and you're not afraid to love. Okay, you just go full on into the whole concept of love. You immerse yourself in a way where you're not afraid to be vulnerable. In fact, being vulnerable is something that people love about who it is that you are. Even at a social level, I think this is the thing, is because you actually are, you're not guarded on that level. You know, you are very open, and you're okay with being vulnerable. A very caring, patient, emotionally mature individual. Your compassion is something that people love about you. You give the shirt off of your own back, and it's something that people, they feel very safe with you because they know that you're there for them. They know that you'll care. They know that you'll contribute in a way that makes a difference. But they also know they can make mistakes with you. You know, they can stuff things up. They can muck it up. Okay. So a friend or a colleague knows that they can come off the rails and just not get it right. But that at the end of the day, that they can face you about that, because it's okay to be honest with you, and you'll just be honest back to them in a way that actually really helps them to rebalance. You're not going to judge them. You're not going to get angry at them. You're not going to react or retaliate. So a very forgiving person. And I think the thing is, you have this ability to put yourself in other people's shoes, and I think that kind of generates, like a very mindful, compassionate, caring, forgiving person. Yeah, there's a lot of patience around who it is that you are. I think that's also why kids love you. Is you're very patient with them. You're very patient with people in general. Very open and accepting. I felt, if you had kids, you're an amazing parent because you're so attentive. You really just, you know what they need. And I think the same with being a partner to somebody, again, a very attentive, loving person who just knows how to be honest and to navigate things on an emotional level without any baggage. I'll be honest with you. The one thing I don't see here, looking at all these cards, I don't see a person who has baggage. I feel like you've come through life quite unscathed in a way where you have, a really good grasp of yourself, and that you're quite anchored in key areas where it really is important. Very grounded person. And not to say that you don't have any baggage. I mean, we've all got some. But I think the thing that people love about you is that you don't bring any baggage to the table, in as much as you don't make it all about you and your issues. You're very present, very caring, very positive. And I don't want this to kind of sound sappy or cheesy. I think it's a really lovely reflection of a person who is genuine and honest. I hope this reading has made some sense, and if it has, feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can, and hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post in the future. If you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much, and take care. Bye-bye.